Hello everyone, welcome to software engineering class. Today's topic is software testing. So let's see what software testing is. Software testing is the process of evaluating a program with the specific intent to find the errors and bugs before delivery to the delivery of the software to the end user. The main purpose of the testing is to find the error because we want to make sure that when user get the software there are very less or minimal errors and user won't have any problem with the software. So you need to make sure that it is bugs or error free. So this is the main purpose of the testing. The other purpose of the testing are requirement validation. So we want to make sure that all the requirement which user want from the software means all the functionality which user want whether it is implemented or not. So we want to make sure that all the requirement of the user is implemented. Next, security checking. So many times we heard the news that some software got hacked and important data is stolen. So we want to make sure that our software is not easily hackable. Then we want to check the user friendliness. User friendliness means how our software is easy or difficult to interact with the software. Means how the user will use the software, whether it is easy enough to use or it will be difficult. So you want to make sure that user won't have any problem with the software. So these are the main purpose of the testing. Now let's talk about who should test the software or system. Main two person can test the software. First is developer and second is tester. If developer tests the software, then it is general tendency that he will not check the software hard enough to find the software errors. As generally no one wants to find the many errors in the software which he has written. Also developer may have some delivery deadlines to deliver the software or code. So he want to deliver the software as fast as he can. So it is generally test the software gently and won't uncover the as much error. On the other hand, if the tester tests the software, the main work of the tester will be to find the errors and bugs. So it is likely that he will try hard enough to break the software and find the bug. So tester testing process will be driven by the quality. But the problem is the tester need to know about the software and need to learn the software first to test the software, which can require some time. Now let us talk about testing strategies. There are different type of testing strategies like unit testing, integration testing, validation testing, system testing, etc. So we will talk about these different type of strategies in detail. First type of testing is unit testing. Testing of an individual software component or a module. It is known as a unit testing. It is typically done by the developer or programmer and not by the tester, as it requires the detailed knowledge of the entire program design and code. So each module or a part of the software, it is tested by the programmer that it is working correctly or not. And if the bug is found, the developer will try and solve the bugs. Next is integration testing. Testing of all the integrated modules to verify the combined functionality after the integration is done. It is known as integration testing. So all the modules are integrated first and then it is checked that all the module interaction is working as desired or not. This type of testing is especially relevant to client server or distributed system. Next is system testing. Under the system testing technique, the entire system is tested as per the requirement. It is a black box type of testing which is based on the overall requirement specification and cover all the part of a system. Next is interface testing. Interface testing is the test of graphical user interface and how user interact with the software. It is the test to see whether the GUI or graphical user interface is simple enough which can be used by the particular type of user or not. So it should be easy enough to use by the customer. And if it is very difficult to use, the user won't or don't likely to use the software. And the next one is beta or acceptance testing. Generally, beta or acceptance testing is performed by the client. So in this testing, the software is given to user to run and use the software. And user verify whether the end-to-end flow of the system is as per their requirement or not. If it is as per the need of end user, the client accepts the software when all the features and functionality work as expected. It is the last phase of testing, after which software goes into production. This is also known as a user acceptance testing (UAT). Next thing is non-functional testing. In non-functional testing, there is a performance or load testing. This term is often used interchangeably with the stress and load testing. Performance testing is done to check whether the system meets the performance requirement or not. Different performance and load tools are used to do this type of testing. For example, if we develop a website, we want to make sure that it loads in a particular time or how it loads in the low bandwidth user. Next is volume testing. The software or application undergo a huge amount of data and the volume testing checks how the system behaves and responds when it come across such high volume of data. So when we develop the software, we generally use the small amount of data. But what will or how the system will behave if, if it has large volume of data? It will be checked in this type of testing. So a lot of data will be inserted and tester will check its behavior and time. Next is security testing. Security testing is done to check how the software or application or a website is secure from internal or external threat. It is also checked how software behave for any hackers attack and malicious program and how software is maintained for the data security after such a hacker attack. So in basically we want to make sure that it is not easily hackable. For example, we want to make sure that there is no SQL injection happening which user can use to modify the data. Next is compatibility testing. It is the testing type in which it validates how the software behave and run in different environment or web server or different hardware. So when we are developing the software, we generally have the best or most compatible hardware and software. For example, if we develop a website, generally we developer have the latest browser and operating systems. It is possible that user don't have the latest browser or operating system. How the software will work or run on the older systems or different hardware. It will be checked in the compatibility testing. And we also check if some functionality is not working, what can be the alternative we can do? Then there is a usability testing. Under the usability testing, user friendliness is checked. The application flow is tested to know if the new user can understand the application easily or not. Proper help document is provided if the user gets stuck at any point. It means the software should be easy enough to use for the new customer or user. And if customer gets stuck at any point, whether the proper document or help is available or not to solve his problem. So basically the flow of the system is checked whether it is easy enough or not. And last one is accessibility testing. The main aim of accessibility testing is to determine whether the software or application is accessible for disabled people or not. There are many disability in the peoples, like some are deaf, some are colorblind, some are mentally disabled, blind, old age people, and various others. So we want to make sure that various type of disabled people will also able to run the or use the software properly. For example, we can use the various font size if old age people cannot read the small fonts, or we can use the high contrast or color theme for colorblind people, etc. So this is known as a accessibility testing. So these are the various testing strategies. Now let us talk about type of testing. So testing can be categorized into two way or two categories based on how testing is performed. One is known as a white box testing and second is known as a black box testing. Now let's see what white box testing is. White box testing is also known as a structural testing. White box testing is testing method in which internal structure, source code, design, implementation, every detail is known to the tester. As every internal code and design is known to the tester, it is known as a white box or transparent testing. Using white box testing, test case can be designed in such a way that it guarantees all the independent path with a module. We can test the case like all the logical decision on the code is executed once and tested. The goal of the white box testing is that every code should be tested at least once. Now let's see advantages. Advantage is test case can be designed before the completion of GUI or whole project. If the tester knows the internal details, he can design the test cases before the GUI or project. Testing is more through, which helps to build the more reliable software. If tester know every internal detail, he will likely to test the software more thoroughly, which will help us to build the more reliable software. Now let's see disadvantages. The main disadvantage of the white box testing is since tester should know the internal coding, he or she should have a good knowledge about programming. If designing a test case can be time consuming and will require the knowledge of programming to understand the software. Now let us see about black box testing. Black box testing is also known as a functional testing. Black box testing is testing method in which internal structure, source code, design, implementation, this type of details are not known to the tester. As tester do not know anything about internal working, it is known as a black box. It means it is the opaque. Means tester can't see anything inside what is happening. This approach is focused on testing the functionalities of the software against the requirement of user. It means we generally test the software. Means how when we give the input, what are the output is produced, whether the output is desired or not. And if user input the wrong data, what will happen? Now let's see the advantage of black box testing. The tester do not have to have a knowledge of programming, as it is black box, as internal knowledge of is not required. Tester don't need the knowledge of programming. It is easy to check the input and output because you want to make sure the functionality is working properly or not. So when we give the proper input, what are the output? We will check. The disadvantage. Sometimes it is difficult to test the system and discover the hidden error because internal coding and design is not known. Sometimes it will be difficult to find the some errors. So it's all about software testing. So what we have seen is what software testing is, various type of testing strategies like functional and non-functional testing, unit testing, security testing, performance testing, etc. Then we see the type of testing, white box and black box testing.